Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday to you all. I know that this is the panel discussion that we have been waiting for. We have been planning, marking our calendars for September 29th, and the day is finally here. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the one of the most anticipated segments, our panel of dynamic women entrepreneurs. We ask that you bear in mind with us as we navigate through some technical difficulties. But nonetheless, these remarkable women are leaders, innovators, and change makers who have built businesses, broken barriers, and redefined success on their own terms. Each of them brings a unique story, stories of vision, resilience, and bold action, and they continue to inspire others as they lead with both heart and hustle. Whether launching startups, growing brands, or mentoring the next generation, these entrepreneurs embody the power of purpose driven leadership. They've turned challenges into opportunities and ideas into thriving enterprises. Today, they'll be sharing insights from their journeys, the highs, the hurdles, the lessons, and the legacy they're building. And we're honored to have them with us. Please join me in welcoming our dynamic panel of women entrepreneurs. We have Kim Avant Bab, Miss Valerie Paul, Carolyn Mitchell, Romika Temple. Please help me give them a warm welcome. All right, ladies, welcome, welcome, welcome to our panel discussion. And so we are going to jump right into it. I want all of you to reintroduce yourself to our new guests, or maybe guests that may have watched us previously. Just tell us a little bit about who you are and what is it that you do.
All
Who
right,
you
I
want
can go first. Good
to go ahead,
evening,
Val.
good afternoon. My name is Valerie Paul, also known as Transformational Val P. I am a boy mom. I am an educator, a district administrator. I am a life coach. I am a wedding officiant, minister. I do everything. So I am me, I am her, I am she. Thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to this conversation.
Woohoo! Next up, we have Kim.
How are you? Can you hear me? I'm Kim Avant Bab. I am a real estate investor. I am nestled in the Philadelphia market, although I sleep in South Jersey. I am a real estate investor. I'm a landlord strategist. I'm also an author of 4 books, and I am a coach. I help small investors better manage their rental properties through education. I just had a boot camp on Saturday. I coach, I train, and I speak in order to help them increase their cash flow, operate more efficiently, and avoid evictions.
Welcome, welcome, welcome in. Wow. And we have so many viewers on right now saying, Hi, Val. Let's go. Jack of all trades, boss lady. They're dropping the heart emoji. So everyone is excited for this live. So thank you once again for being a part of this panel discussion. So let's jump right into it, ladies. Now, I have to ask, what was the spark that made you say, I'm going to bet on myself? And how did you take that first leap? We can start with you, Kim.
Sure, sure. Let me also say that I'm a multi entrepreneur landlord. The landlording is on Legacy Real Estate Consulting. So one of my companies is Legacy Real Estate Consulting. My real estate portfolio is under Bad Property. So I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I've also had other companies, and also an entrepreneur, which means building companies within companies. But for this conversation, I'm going to focus on Legacy Real Estate Consulting. Uh, what what pushed me to bet on myself in 2018? I suffered a brain injury. Okay, I was working my 9 to 5 with the state of New Jersey, a wonderful career, 23 years in, doing phenomenal things. But in 2018, I suffered a brain injury, and during those 4 months home, for the first time, taking that S off my chest and recovering, I had a lot of time to reflect on how fragile life is, and how at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, we we are singular in life and in living. And I made a decision during that time that, you know what, I'm going to bet on me. I put in my time with my 9 to 5 and building another real estate business simultaneous. And daggone it, I'm going to fire my 9 to 5. And I fired my 9 to 5 during COVID on Zoom with the CEO and said, I'm out. And I started my real estate education company, which is Legacy Real Estate Consulting. And here I am.
Wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. We love to see it, love to hear it. And now, Val, we are going to pitch that same question back over to you.
Oh, I love that. So I kind of have a similar story. When I was 12, I was hit by a car and it was a drunk driver. And I think that's what kind of jumpstart my this zeal for life. So I always was in education, always knew I wanted to be a teacher, went on to become a principal. But during COVID, just transitioning from New York City to Long Island, I just kind of lost my spark. My mom had got really sick, being at home, you just trying to figure out life. And that's when I actually wrote my first children's book. And it was a book about affirmations. And as I wrote the book of affirmations, I realized it was a self-help book for myself to motivate myself. And I went on to write another book. And then I've always been creative. I've always loved having parties, decorating for parties. And I knew that God had a calling on my life. So as of recently in August, I became an ordained minister and wedding officiant. And I feel like in this new entrepreneurship, it's combining all of my loves. I'm kind of person that believes just because you're a mom of three doesn't mean that you can't do it all. And a lot of times I hear from people, oh, you do too much, or why do you go so hard? And I'm like, well, look, I'm a single mom. Shout out to their dads, they're amazing, but I have to keep grinding every day because I have one household. Despite of what it looks like, I look like I'm rich, and I am rich, but I have a lot of bills. And so I'm always looking to do things. And actually, a lot of the things that I do, I don't even monetize on it. I do it for free. I do life coaching. I'm an author. I really, truly have a passion for helping people. And I think now, as I'm becoming an entrepreneur, I'm realizing that, I have to monetize because time is money. And anyone that comes to me, asks me for advice or wants support, there's people out there willing to pay millions of dollars to hear what I have to say. So that's just a little bit of my story.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing your story. Carolyn, can you hear us? You have to unmute. Yay! Carolyn has joined us. So,
Welcome.
Carolyn, we were just discussing what was the spark that made you say, I'm going to bet on myself? And how do you take that first leap?
Oh wow. So I guess my husband was a big motivation in that because he kept pushing me to push my very first product that I made. He kept saying, oh, you need to bottle up that hair crack, you need to do this, you need to do this. And then when I finally did it, it was just something like I just had to do, and I was just passionate about it from day one because it came out of necessity, just because I couldn't afford the hair products that was in the stores. So I just was in the kitchen making up some stuff for my girls. And then that went on to my family and friends, and everybody's hair growing all good. And my husband's like, you got to bottle up that hair crack. So he kept pushing me to do that. And that just really helped me step out there on faith and say, I'm doing this, I can do this. And I've been doing this since 2017.
And Carolyn, thank you so much for sharing that. But we didn't catch the tea behind what you do.
Okay, what I do. Okay, I am Carolyn Mitchell. Hello, hello, beautiful people. I am the founder and the formulator of the Natural Way 365 product line and the Natural Way 365 Farms. I am a formulator, I am a farmer, I am a herbalist, and I am a holistic consultant, and I am all things entrepreneur. So, yes.
Wonderful. See, I told y'all we have a dynamic group of women that is up. that is a part of this live. I see partnership is everything in the comments. People are telling us to continue to operate in the gifts that we have and walk in our truth. And as you ladies were sharing your story, I heard you mention kind of what could seem like to other people roadblocks or challenges, if you will, right? And I know that every entrepreneur faces a roadblock or they have to pivot. What was one obstacle that almost stopped you, and how did you push through? Yes, Carolyn, we'll start with you.
Okay, so my first pivot would be when I was making these products. I was in school studying Western medicine. So to make that pivot to go to holistic, herbalist, everything, and to walk away from traditional Western medicine, it was just being untaught and going through an unlearning process. And during that time, when I had launched my business, I had got diagnosed with cervical degenerative disc disease, and that had me pretty much paralyzed. And I was really unhealthy at that time, and I couldn't touch my toes and applying for disability. And one day I came home from one appointment and I was just like, this just cannot be my life. And I was just crying and thought I was just going to be this young disabled woman. And, God said, not so. So during that time, just trying to get off the opioids and the medicine, I learned about cannabis and CBD and all the benefits that it brings. And I went down this whole rabbit hole of getting healthy and starting to do yoga and taking CBD and things like that. And then that kind of helped me pivot all the way until this healthy herbalist lifestyle that I have now.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Carolyn. Wow. And ladies, feel free to chime in if someone says something that has touched you or you want to share a thought, a comment, because the work that you're doing is amazing. Valerie, I know you can go ahead next to answer this question for us.
Sure. I'll talk about my most recent roadblock, and I believe that delay is not denial. So I'm doing my doctorate, the future Dr. Paul. But earlier this year, I burnt myself out. Like I was in school, I was being a mom. We all know, and I had to take off some time off of work. And what surprised me about that situation is that I talk about it so freely. And shout out to my tribe there on. I would only say my close family knew, but as time went on, I ended up telling other people, and they were like, okay, so what? Like, you are going to go back to school, you're going to be fine. And what it taught me was that it's okay to rest. Like, it's okay to sometimes take a step away and say, look, you're doing the most right now. I know you have children, you want to finish your doctorate, you want to be a great employee at work, but I always say, if you can't pour into yourself, you can't pour out of an empty cup. So the biggest lesson was it's okay to stop, take a pause, and say, you know what, right now I'm going to take a break, but I'm going to jump back on the horse and I'm going to be stronger than ever. If I'm not emotionally, physically, spiritually well for myself, what can I do for my boys? Because at the end of the day, I'm doing it for my boys. And if I'm not here, I'm not present because I'm on my phone, I'm checking emails, I'm doing this, what does it matter, right? So God gives us the spirit of strength, and I use that roadblock to really just start brand new. So as I went back into the work field, as I started back school, as I started to reconnect with my friends, I was very intentional this summer for being outside. I was like, I'm outside. I'm reconnecting with all my friends, all my family. I'm going to enjoy the summer because I rested and now it's time to just enjoy life. And I enjoy life. But again, due to this recent roadblock. And I'm excited and I'm stronger, healthier than ever. Shout out to everyone that I know because they were part of the journey, whether they knew about it or not, because they kept pushing me to say, you got this. We'll support you. You are going to be great. So,
Yeah.
Community and support is everything. And rest,
yes.
it's okay to rest and reset.
Yeah.
Someone told me before, it's not okay to stop, but it is okay to slow down. And it is okay to pace yourself, and those things are is very important. Kim, we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Legacy Real Estate Consulting is a startup company, right? I launched it in 2020. And it's one thing to know that you have an idea and a purpose to pour in and encourage and help other people, right? But what I found myself was being overwhelmed with doing everything to bring this vision into fruition. And it was just peaks and valleys as far as, making connections, monetization, and it was a little frustrating because I know the information and the content that I have between my ears based on my 4 decades of experience of building a real estate portfolio, self-managing a real estate portfolio, having zero evictions and building all of these tremendous systems is valuable, right? But the frustration was I was juggling all the balls with social media, marketing, speaking, doing, expos, et cetera. It was very overwhelming. So how I pushed through was based on the resources that I have in advocating building multiple streams of income, right? Which I've been fortunate to do over the 4 decades. So this year, I made a financial commitment to hire a team. Daggone it, hire a daggone team, and focus in my zone of genius. And it has really paid off. It's really paid off to have a team that handles the social media, the marketing, everything on the tech side, and that's how it pushed through. Having the ability to use some of my other resources based on the hard work, the grit, the sacrifice, the discipline of building multiple streams to then be able to pull from them to fuel the momentum and the impact that I know I can have with this startup company.
Wow. Amazing. And I'm looking at the comments right now, and as you all are sharing, the the way that you push through these obstacles that almost stopped you, right? We had a guest comments and say, "How can I discover what gifts I possess? I'm sure I have, I just don't know what they are." Does anyone
I
want
love that question. So I believe that everyone has a purpose on this earth. I think it's really important when you know who you are and you have an identity, whether that's in God, in the universe, whatever religious background you have, it's easy to connect your passion to that. So I think, so I started Inspiring Minds Trinity because I was like, I want more money. It's COVID. Everybody's like, thinking of these businesses. I'm like, there's so much money out here. So it was birthed from just really not kind of being overworked as a principal and saying, okay, I need something else to pour into. So it actually became a joy to open up a business because I would come home from work and I would spend time on my business. But it was stuff I liked. Like I really don't like to write, surprisingly, even though I have two children's books, but I love networking. I love affirmations. I love pouring into people. So I was really intentional about praying and asking God to order my steps and make sure that whatever I did glorified Him. And that's where I was able to combine my expertise, right, my 9 to 5 as an educator, and combine it with MC, hosting parties, really tapping into the things that I know I'm good at. And then again, you want to make money off of it, right? Like, because everybody has something, whether it's, you like to bake or you like to do hair, think about the things you get a lot of compliments on, and then
Mhm.
start slowly, right? Like, oh, you always get compliments on your lashes and you do your own lashes. Oh, hey, a cousin, can I do your lashes? I think it's really important to be intentional and then just have confidence, right? Because it's about selling yourself. Like, I do a lot and I promote a lot of people, CBOs, but it's because I am confident in their work and who they are. Just like this line, I know Jasmine personally and professionally, so I wouldn't come on a live stream if I didn't believe that what she has for the world is valuable. So you have to be very intentional in praying and just asking God to order your steps. Is this the right move? Is this the right business? Is it the right time?
Mhm. Yeah,
Very well said. Go ahead.
I was going to say I definitely, will compliment what Valerie mentioned and add to that I believe we need to be introspective at times. We really need to sit still and just look at our life journey and look for commonalities in reference to identifying your zone of genius. Like, what do you do well? To take time to really investigate and have that conversation with yourself. Look back at your career, look back at, how people respond positively to your services, your talents, your roles on at in your 9 to 5. That's what I was able to do over the 4 decades of my career to see. And many times people see in you what you don't see in yourself, and opportunities will present themselves because people identify your zone of genius. So again, just in closing, I would say take time to be still and be retrospective, introspective, and really, you know, analyze and embrace what your zone of genius is and say, Dad, going, I do that well. Okay, that's me.
Yes, most definitely.
That is so true. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. And that advice was amazing. I'm sure that the person that commented and asked that question is definitely getting a lot of insight as they self reflect and think about their next steps. Because sometimes it is hard to think, like, what is it that I want to do? What is it that I'm truly good at? And it does take that self work and self-discovery. And also it brings us to talking about like mindset, right? Because even in entrepreneurship, when we're constantly trying to figure things out, or even when things get tough, what would you say a mindset is that you have, or any type of routine that helps you stay grounded and keep going? Carolyn, we can start with you.
All right. For me, it's going to be definitely just again that stillness. A lot of times we're asking and seeking for things, but we most of the time for myself, I know I find those answers in stillness when I'm out in the sun, when I'm grounding, when I'm just sitting to myself, listening to my spirit speak to me from my higher self, and then I act on those things and have my journal right there with me, and I'm journaling my thoughts and everything that comes to me, and then afterwards I'm going to apply action to those things that I just meditated on and those things that came to me. So definitely meditating for me will help bring me back through. Definitely meditating.
And what I would add is so important is self-talk, right? A lot of times we talk ourselves out of our possibilities or our opportunities. And I'll add to that we are what we eat physically, emotionally, spiritually, nutritionally. So we have to be conscious about what we're ingesting, right? So when we talk about information, what are we reading? What are we listening to? Is it feeding our soul? Is it giving us the nutrients and confidence and information and education that we need to perform at our highest peak? And that goes with emotions as well, nutritionally as well. Are we eating right? So we have to be responsible for what we ingest because it's going to regurgitate and deliver and fuel us or put us at a disadvantage to not be at our optimal level if we're not conscious about what we're ingesting.
Yeah, well said, ladies. And I just want to add on that negative self-talk, like Miss Kim said. So when I was called to become a wedding officiant, I was like, God, I'm not even married. Like I've been engaged, but like, but I like to MC. I like to have a good time. And Holy Spirit had to remind me, I called you. You don't worry about it. I'll do the rest. And then I went to a baseball game last weekend, and somebody shared a story that they they went to Brooklyn College. They had a bachelor's, but they were asked to speak at the master's ceremony. And they're like, I just have a bachelor's. And he went, he did the commencement speech. And it was like, sometimes God sends you little like ahas. And it was like, you're right. Like you have a bachelor's, but you have a whole firm that you built and you're making millions of dollars. So I would say you just do the work, right? Faith without works is dead, but just know and trust that it's going to be okay, right? Like how many businesses have failed? and they were fine, right? Like, and that's what I love about entrepreneurship and still having a 9 to 5. You have multiple ways to get different businesses. There's so much money, there's so many grants out there that you can literally do anything you like and monetize off of it. We have
Absolutely.
a question in the chat. Do you mind if I shout out the question, Jasmine? Sure. Okay. Miss Kim said, Miss Kim, this is question is for you.
Yeah.
How would you encourage someone who is building their brand but is not at a financial place to hire a team just yet? Great question.
What we're talking about is grit, grind, and ambition. Okay. If it requires you to get a little part-time job to have the finances to, to pay a team, basically we gotta do whatever we gotta do to make it happen. Not having the finances is a reality, right? But what's the alternative, or what are my options? How can I get it? It's like having a door that's closed. Like, every door that's closed is not locked. Okay. Every door that's shut is not locked. So how do you push through? You got to be creative. Figure it out. Like, make cupcakes, do a little side hustle to generate the income to be able to afford that team. And also, I like to encourage, my clients that I coach and I speak to, I want you to think like a chess master. Okay. We're not playing checkers here. I need you to think like a chess master. So if I make this move, how is it going to affect the next two moves, right? If I sacrifice in this position on the board and make that move, how's it going to affect the next two moves? So that sacrifice might be getting a part-time job or creating something that you can monetize that's then going to be able to allow you to afford to hire a team. It's strategy. I'm so much about strategy, mindset, and positioning yourself on the board to attain the goal that you're after.
Right.
That was a very clear response, and I really do appreciate that. And I know that with your businesses and the different roles that you play, there's a balance that you need to have in order to protect your peace and to still show up fully for your business and personal life. But not only that, I know that your businesses have created ripples within our communities or within the communities that you serve. Um, in what ways would you all say that your businesses created those ripples in the community, and what does that impact mean to you personally?
Nice. Great question. I could go. I was in the city earlier and I saw one of my colleague friends. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I love your Instagram. You're always posting." And again, it goes back to purpose and passion. Like, I don't consider myself a content creator, but I find that people are like, I love your page. I have people coming to me and say, "Hey, I want you to run my page." And I was at the meeting and somebody came up to me and was like, "Can you take this group picture for us? You take good pictures." And I'm like, "Really? You think so?" Okay. But people are watching. So you always have to think about, again, it goes back to what are you good at? So obviously they see something. And shout out to Miss Pretty Goods. We were at a birthday party and I showed her how to do CapCut. I was like, "Girl, these videos I just download," and I showed her literally in 3 minutes how to create a CapCut video. So it's about really connecting with people and not being afraid to show them, not be a crab in a barrel. And when I say I don't monetize, I say that I'm not getting capital money. But when I think about all the people I've connected with, all my friends, all my business owners, all the vendors that I've ever met, I'm pouring something into them so they could pour something to someone else. And then the money is always going to come after because you've put that seed in and you've already kind of encouraged someone. And it could just be something like somebody saw my video one day and was like, "You know what? When you posted that video, I had just not got a job position. And because I saw that video, I was motivated to keep going." So sometimes you don't even want to do it. Trust me. At this times I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to post, but I'm like, there's a message for somebody out there, and I'm gonna be the bearer of that message.
Valerie, you just hit that head on the nail. Sometimes you just really have to push through and think about the greater purpose and the why behind what you're doing, because it is easy sometimes to say, "I'm tired today. I don't want to do this today," right? But it comes back to the why. Carolyn, would love to hear from you next.
All right. I've definitely created some ripples. I feel like by not only showing like an alternative solution to a treatment, like I'm just not showing them an alternative. I'm showing them how to just create powerful solutions that will change their life, and how some customers and clients come back to me and how their confidence has improved just by their health improving, or even just by their hair growing. I've had several customers recently over the past weekend who have approached me, letting me know how their hair growth process is making them feel, and how they're getting their confidence back, and how they thought they would have a bald spot forever, because that can really affect some people in their confidence. So just knowing that I'm just making those changes in people's lives, making them more healthier, happier, and living better, that definitely is an ongoing ripple effect, because if that person is happy, their family is happy, and they're able to maneuver and function in life better as well. So,
Come
yeah.
on, ripple effect. Come on, ripple effect. Kim, what is the ripple effect?
So what we know statistically is like 45% of the rentals in the United States are owned by small landlords, right? And so the ripple effect is knowing that number one, they're not growing any more land, and that my partner and I, over the last 4 decades of building our real estate portfolio, are a part of that community of small landlords. And so the ripple effect is being an example, being a motivator, sharing the systems and the examples of how you can be successful in creating generational wealth as a small landlord, right? And the impact is really hinged to the name of our company, which is legacy, right? Legacy, in my opinion, is anyone that you have touched, poured into, encouraged, motivated, been an example to help them grow and build their wealth. So that's the personal impact that I really get excited about. That we are an example that if we can do it, you can do it, and we're sharing our systems, our ideology, our strategies with you so that you can be successful too. This is going to be a challenge. It's not an easy market to be in, but you can do this. So that's the ripple effect. We've gotten great feedback. Even so that you are in like a unique niche. Like nobody's out here teaching us this property management stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to represent education, motivation, and inspiration to small investors to say that you can build generational wealth, and here's how we do it, and I'm willing to pour into you because our cup is full. We're pouring from a full cup, and that's really what inspires me to just keep pouring and being an example and build our legacy by touching, encouraging, and motivating others.
I love that. And I love the fact that you mentioned being able to pour from a full cup, right? And teaching people about like legacy. For the women right now who feel that pull to start something, but they're battling like fear or doubt, what truth would you want them to hold on to? For anybody that could be watching this live right now, what is a truth that you would want them to hold on to? Um, I'm gonna start with Valerie.
Oh, sure, sure. Um, just start, right? Like I actually my at Transformational Val P, I was Principal Paul, and I actually shut down my page after I transitioned from being a principal because I was like, again, not feeling like I had anything to offer because I wasn't in that title position. And then I started back Transformational Val P, and this is where words are very powerful because once you create something, whatever you say, it ends up becoming what you are. And within a week of starting my page, one of my friends came. Well, he wasn't my friend at the time, but I was at a conference, and he came up to me. He was like, "Oh my gosh, like I love your page. I see what you're doing. You're doing well. Keep up the great work." And it was only a week starting my page, and I'm like, "Wait, you know my page?" He's like, "Yeah, I see you all the time. You're doing great work." And that was at that moment I was like, there's something out there that people need from me, right? Like there's thousands of pages on Instagram, but you came across my page, and when you saw me, you had to validate. So I always get those like little drops of like Keep going. You're doing well. So again, there's someone out there that wants what you have. It doesn't matter if you have the 10th lipstick line, you have a CBD product, you're an investor. There is an audience for you. So start today. After this call, go into ChatGPT. I mean, ChatGPT is my best friend. Sometimes I'm just thinking of my creative ideas. Get your journal, like Miss Carolyn said, and just start writing things down and set a goal. You know what? I have 20 ideas. By the end of this year, I want to blank. Start small, right? But the goal is to start today because we don't know what tomorrow brings, right? So you sometimes, we all say opportunity comes once. There might be a person, you might be on a train, and somebody says, I'm going to give you $1 million to execute idea. Will you know what you want to do? And a lot of times, as moms, as entrepreneurs, as people that really focus on our 9 to 5 and don't pour into ourselves, we don't know what we are and who we are outside of our titles: a mom, a sister, a wife, a principal, a district administrator. Who are you if you saw what happened during COVID? The world shuts down, you're furloughed, and you have no job. What are you going to do to provide for your family? I think COVID, people forgot why all these businesses came back up, but we need to go back to, if the world shut down tomorrow, would you be able to survive off of who you are?
That's right. That's
Awesome.
right.
Yes, awesome. Yeah. I would add to that by saying, in my opinion, fear and doubt is fueled by ignorance, right?
Mhm.
If we're fearful, it's because we don't know. I learned an interesting perspective going through Toastmasters International decades ago, learning public speaking. Most people fear public speaking because they're doubtful, they don't know. But we were taught, when you know your subject matter, when you know what you know,
Yeah.
then you can speak about it, right? And it's the same thing with stepping out. I believe that if we do the research, if we put the time in to educate ourselves, then we bolster our confidence and we can go for it. The other piece is that life is not a dress rehearsal. Okay, life is not a dress rehearsal. So I would encourage you to just be serious about how you spend your time, build community around people that are going to uplift you, push you to the next level, and encourage you. I know Ms. Valerie mentioned earlier that some people would say, "Oh, I think you're doing too much." I've experienced that as well. Finally from one of my parents years ago, and I said, "You know what it is? You can't keep up with me." So we have to understand what moves us, what motivates us, and what our vision is, and go with it, because at the end of the day, we only get one shot at this. So do your research, modify and shift that self-talk to yourself, and know that you can do anything you put your mind to, as long as you put the work in, you're disciplined, you're consistent, and you have confidence.
Definitely, definitely. The truth really is, everything is really already in you. You just have to begin. It doesn't have to be perfect when you first start out. Doubt is going to whisper, but so is destiny. So you just have to stay focused and just do it, and it's going to get better and better as you continue to go. But the first thing is just to do it.
I'm going to take that quote with me today. Doubt is going to whisper, but so is destiny. Whew. That was the quote of the day right now. Thank you all for sharing. I do have one more question to ask you all. If the younger version of you could see who you are today, what would she be most proud of, and what advice would you give her?
Ooh, it's a good one.
She
Um,
would definitely
Go
should
ahead,
definitely be
Carolyn.
proud of the consistency. Definitely be proud of the consistency. And I would definitely tell her to start off with a mentor. Start off with a mentor. Because that, if I would have did that a long time ago, I think I'll be a little bit more further ahead. But yeah, start off with a mentor. At least 3 mentors, I think, is needed. That
Love
most
that.
definitely.
I love that. Val, you up?
because you're amazing. I would say delay is not denial. You're gonna come across some things in life that you're gonna recover from. Just know that you're gonna be okay. You're gonna have wonderful children and a family and friends that are gonna back you up. Continue to pour into your relationships and always keep moving forward, because every season, there's going to be a time for everything, but it's going to be an amazing journey. You're going to learn about a lot about yourself and who you are in this world.
I love that. I love that. Go ahead, Kim.
And what I would say to my younger self is knowing that where you started didn't define where you ended up. I was an introverted child stutterer, okay, growing up. So I've come a long way. Kim, you've come a long way, and you are a force to reckon with based on what you put into yourself, how you built your confidence, and really the work that you put in to build your skills and to zero in on your zone of genius. And daggone it, you are a force to reckon with. Look at you now. So I would say I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud of you. I wouldn't change a thing today.
Ladies, I just want to say, wow, I'm speechless. I know that I've met with each of you individually and have done lives, but how powerful is it to have a panel of dynamic women entrepreneurs all together, sharing the stories of continuous broken barriers and redefining success on your own terms. I need to make sure that everybody on this live is following you all as they continue on in their journey. They might have a specific question for you all. So please tell people, what are you up to right now and where they can follow you so that they can stay in touch as they continue on to grow in their journey. Valerie, you can start first.
Oh, sure. All right. So you can follow me at transformational underscore Val P, at 1 Corinthians 13 Ministries on Instagram. Right now, my birthday is coming up. Shout out to the Libra crew. I have a special announcement coming on October 12th. Lots more coming in store. I am now recruiting for 2026 brides. I am available to MC. I'm also a life coach, consultant, all that. But I'm here. If you have a question for me and you just want to chat, hit me up on all platforms. Transformational Val P and 1 Corinthians 13 Ministries on Instagram. Thank you.
I know that's right, Carolyn.
All right. Y'all can find me on social media at The Natural Way 365 on all social media platforms, and The Natural Way 365 underscore on TikTok. And I have an event coming up. I'm also an event coordinator. So October 25th, there will be our fourth annual Growers Exchange Fall Festival, and that will be from 3 to 8 at Chattahoochee Hills Charter School. And I'm super excited about that. And November 8th, there will be a sewing class at 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So I have some events coming up, but definitely get your tickets for the Fall Fest October 25th.
All right. All right. Kim?
Yes. Well, number one, I'm doing a shout out for the Libras because October 9th, I don't know when your birthday is, but we are phenomenal. All right. Okay. So you can follow me on IG at legacy REC _net. IG again, legacy REC _net. My website is legacyrec.net. And what I have coming up shortly is I just finished it was a phenomenal wealth building and landlording like a pro boot camp this past Saturday. It was awesome based on the feedback. And on October the 22nd, I will be launching an 8-week, once a week Zoom meeting cohort to continue that information and knowledge about how to grow wealth and how to manage your rental properties like a pro. So I've got a 8-week cohort coming up starting October 22nd. We're going to, dive into the fourth quarter so you can start 2026 on top. as far as wealth building. But again, IG is legacy REC_net, and my website is legacyrec.net.
Legacy, legacy, legacy. And this is what we call Black excellence. If you all have not purchased the book yet, please check out my latest book, Entrepreneurship 101 Keys to Starting a Business. It is an ebook by me, of course, offering guidance for aspiring business owners, particularly women and mothers, on turning ideas into thriving businesses. It partially, well, mainly stems from the journey with my daughter, asking a question during the 2020 pandemic, which serves as an inspiration behind Serenity Nail Polish, our business. And again, please make sure you're following us live for all updates. Go to our, you can scan the QR code on the screen right here to visit our website to make your purchase today. And again, every Monday we are live at 5 p.m. You never know who's on. You never know what piece of information you may need to hear. But remember the quote that we heard today: doubt may whisper, but destiny also whispers in your ear. Get started today. Make sure you're following Mastering Our Business as well to help you with all of your business needs. If you're starting, you need help, you don't know where to get started, but you're like, listen, these ladies are doing it, I can do it too. You absolutely can. Until then, until next week, everyone, be blessed. And ladies, I thank you so much for coming on. Have a blessed week, everyone.